Welcome to TDI Society. I hope you're all doing well. Myself, I've actually just recovered from, I believe it was food poisoning. So if I do not seem myself, then that's why. But I want to get this video out. I want it to be done. And in the meantime, I've just been chipping away at little jobs on the van. If you haven't seen anything to do with the van that I've got, then please check out the last video. I'll put it on screen for you to catch up. Basically, in the video, I just go around all the damage that the van has and what I need to do. And in the meantime, I've been ordering different parts for it. So in the last video, you will have seen that there is some major priorities that I need to do before I start using the van as my new daily. One being is that the driver's door does not open, and when I mean it doesn't open, I mean if I do open it, it will literally fall off because the door hinge has snapped away from the chassis. So I do need to take that up to my dad's garage to weld, but to do that, I also need to do some other repairs inside the van as well because that was also damaged. Another priority is the windscreen, but to do all these certain jobs, there's like a process elimination before I can do certain things. So in the meantime, I've been working on the instrument cluster that was damaged because nothing works. The temperature gauge, fuel gauge, rev counter, speedo, nothing works, and I would quite like to have that working when using it just in case I get pulled over for the damaged windscreen, etc. I did say in the video that I was going to try and make that a worthy video of itself, repairing the instrument cluster, but being honest, as I started doing the job and looking into it a bit more, I thought I'm not going to make a full video about repairing an instrument cluster. So instead, I just took pictures and uploaded them onto my socials just so you can see what I've actually done. And if you do require any more information, just give me a message. Now that the cluster is completely rebuilt, it's time to go and test the van, but the van's battery is completely dead. However, I have got a spare battery showing 12 volts, so I'm going to switch that out, put the cluster in, and fingers crossed the van starts. And the reason my fingers are crossed is because with the instrument cluster, it has to have the original electronics in it from the previous cluster. Now, try not to get confused. All it is if you put another cluster in, the van won't start because it needs to register with the original ECU. It needs to be like coded together. So because I don't have anything for coding, I don't know how to do it. I just decided to switch the innards from the old cluster that hopefully still work because the van still started, and put them in the new one. So it should still start, but I'm just praying that one, it does, and two, that I've reset all the motors for the needles properly and that everything works and matches up. So time to change out the battery, plug the cluster in and see if it'll start. That's us out at the van with the spare battery that I've got. So if we check with the multimeter, it shows 12.2 or 3 volts, which is good. And then if I go up to the van, this one shows 3.7. Now, the previous owner did actually use this van all the time, and obviously I've been in it, so I know that this battery would have been good, but since I've had it, it's dropped a lot of voltage and doesn't even show anything on the dash. So what I'm going to do is just switch the batteries out and then check the voltage again to make sure that nothing is draining the battery. What it could possibly be is there was bulbs removed from this interior light, which I have put back in and sorted because I like an interior light, but ever since then the battery hasn't been right, so maybe that's the reason why they were taken out in the first place. But either way, I'm going to stick this battery in because I need to do it for testing with the new cluster. That's the spare battery put in place, so we're just going to check before I connect it. So it's between 12.3 and 12.2 volts because it was jumping in between. So we'll connect the earth and see what it shows now. 12.2. So I know it is that number or thereabouts, so we'll just keep an eye on it as time goes on just to make sure it isn't draining. Which now means I can test out the cluster. Now, I've rebuilt this, like I said at the start of the video. I didn't do a video on this, I've just took pictures. But the only sort of difference is that it's got these silver accents around the clocks, which I think looks so much better. So now it's time to see if my hard work is paid off. And as you can see, the rest of the van is all completely stripped. But at the same time, I've also added in a indicator stock which had been snapped, as well as the wiper one. So if this works, that means that I can get all this buttoned back together, and that is at least a small improvement for the van. Okay, so now it's time for testing. I've just rested it in place and put the plug in the back. I do know there will be a spanner light up here, which is normal because it either needs a service reset or it's to do with the DPF delete. Also, I'm wondering if this little screen here will work, because this is what tells me the mileage, is when changing clocks over, this the ribbon for the circuit actually came away. I don't think you can take them apart without taking that off. So I guess we'll see and find out. So ignition on. Oh, turns out the wipers work. Now, making sure it's in neutral, we'll go for a start. The van has started, which is great, but there is no rev counter, and I'm not sure if the fuel gauge is working yet, because yeah, the fuel light was flashing before, but I'm sure the fuel gauge needle should be up a bit higher than that. But I guess it's just a waiting game. We'll see if it all kind of kicks in and works, and the screen isn't working. But it's not smashed, it doesn't look horrendous, and at least I've got something to work with now. And I guess I just need to wait and see if the temp gauge is going to work as well. So far so good, battery seems to be doing well. The van actually hasn't started in like 3 weeks, so I'm actually started pretty well. And you can see it's actually been sat so long that there's actually stuff growing around it. So I'll be glad to make use of this soon. In the meantime, however, I'm just going to start buttoning all this back up for the interior. As I've just been letting it run, the fuel gauge has started moving up slightly, which is good. Spanner light on, like I was saying. Still no rev counter, and I'm yet to see what the temperature gauge says. But yeah, just going to start putting all this back together so I've got somewhat of an interior. And let's see how we get on. Got the whole driver's side back together, feels good. I can actually sit in the driver's seat. But love the look of the new clocks, and everything went back together pretty well. The only stuff that's left is this centre console stuff, because I do have a single DIN conversion. I've done all the wiring for it already. I just need to get a stereo, which I actually have. But that will be a separate video, because I think it'll be quite a good one. I literally bought a Bluetooth single DIN stereo with a phone holder attached, so if I'm driving the van I can have a phone holder for maps, etc. And it was £15 on Amazon, and I want to test it, I want to fit it, I want to see what it's like, so you don't have to. So as I've been doing all this, the van has been turned off, and as I mentioned, there's interior lights. So I'm wondering if I close this door, will that eventually go out? And if it does, then that's fine, but if not, then that is why the bulbs were removed, as it's draining the battery. Now I do know that this light switch here is a button, and if you push it in and out they go off, but I want this to work automatically, so now it's just a waiting game, and if not, the bulbs will be coming back out. Even with the door closed, the light is still not going out, so I'll just double check the battery. Still where it was before I fitted it, which is a good sign, but over time that may drain it. However, I've just thought that if I lock the van, which it's not been locked since that battery died, it should turn off the interior lights. So I'm going to close this bonnet. And we will lock the van. and see if they go out. Now, that's not blocked. So that's unlock. So something isn't right with the unlocking and locking. I know the back door stays locked, which is fine. Side door isn't locking, and both the fronts are locked anyway, but I'm sure it's got something to do with that door because nothing is connected electronically. So I think what's happening is that door isn't sensing that it's locked, so the van isn't properly locking, which is leaving those lights on. So I think what I'll do for the meantime is remove those bulbs to prevent the battery dying. The bulbs have been removed, so now I don't need to worry about the battery dying. But what I want to do now is let the van properly warm up because it has been a while, and we can see if the temp gauge starts to move. Yeah, it doesn't sound quite happy, but I think that's been because it's been sat for so long. But either way, it starts, and I now have somewhat of an interior, so we are making progress. As you know, diesels take so long to heat up, so I'm just going to let idle for a bit, and even if needle moves that little bit, then it's confirmed that the temp gauge needle works. As for the rev counter, that didn't work at all when I got the van, so the motor's probably damaged. I do have a spare motor for it, but that means taking the whole thing apart again, and I'm not desperate for a rev counter. Just, did you hear that there? Sounds like the turbo vanes opened a little bit more. That was weird. Anyway, distracted by turbo noises. Yeah, so I do have a spare motor for it, but I don't want to take all that apart again just now. It just gives me another opportunity to maybe get a big rev counter that I can nail onto the dashboard. Also, I just want to check that the stocks that I've fitted are working, so we'll try the indicator to the right, to the left, seems all good, and then we'll do wipers, which we know work because they went on straight away, and we'll try washers. Ideal, really happy with that. And as you can see, the fuel gauge has started moving up. So we're just waiting on the temperature gauge to see if that is going to move whatsoever. Again, if it doesn't work, I'm just going to get an auxiliary temperature gauge and just stick it on the dash somewhere. Now, I'm not sure if you can hear me over this absolute tractor, but I think I've just figured something else out. So, if I feel this radiator hose, which goes to the thermostat, I believe, just under there, it is cold. On top here, it is roasting hot, and if I feel this one down here, it is also roasting hot. So I think it needs a thermostat, as that doesn't seem to be thermostating, and also maybe a temp sensor as well for the dash. I've just figured all that out on the Bora, which was a total headache. Now I need to do it again on this, but something hilarious. Look at the in-feed pipe for the turbo. It is absolutely tiny. I mean, I'm going to put my finger up to it for reference. Look at the size of that. Unbelievable. But it makes good noises. It goes well for a 1.3 turbo diesel. So happy days. What I want to do now is turn the van off and see if the needle moves at all. I can hardly tell if that's even moved. I just wanted to install the new cluster, get the van actually started and running again, do some more tests. But it has been good progress so far, and I've also figured out other issues such as the thermostat possibly not opening correctly. There might be a temperature sensor issue with the gauge because that's not even moving at all. But like I said, progress, and I'm glad I've took the time to actually work through these things and make some content for you guys. So in the next video, I'm going to be installing the cheap and cheerful Wong Tong stereo and see how that goes. But it'll be nice to have the whole centre dash back together, and possibly even some music for myself when I actually do go to use the van. Then after that, it will be a case of taking it up to my dad's garage to get the door welded back in place so that I can use the driver's door, and then after that I'll book it in to get the windscreen replaced. Just before we finish off, I want to just update on the borer. So if you haven't watched the video where I used the smoke tester to find the boost leak, then I'll put it on the screen here. And what we're thinking is, because we've been discussing it in the WhatsApp community group chat, which is in the bio below, or the link on the Facebook page to join. What we're thinking is, because the engine is cold and because it's not running, there is not 100% seal on the pistons, so that will be passing through, and there might be a possible bad crank seal because there is oil coming out of it. So we think that's what that is. But as for the boost leak, in the video I do mention it is at the top of the rev range, which means that it is almost peak boost that it is leaking, and I don't think the smoke tester will be producing the right amount of bar or PSI to show where that is leaking from. So next I'm going to try and connect the air compressor to this and then strap that down in the intake so that I can turn the compressor on and watch to see if there's anything passing through it. It's not the correct tool for the job, but it might work. If not, I'm going to have to either make something or buy a bung to put a valve connector on it with a gauge to see exactly what PSI or bar the leak is coming out of. So this is what it's all about. It's all about testing and problem solving, and I am enjoying it, but at the same time I do want this boost leak to be sorted so I can actually drive the car. So yeah, that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you're not already, hit that subscribe button. It is completely free. Since I've opened the TDI store, which is purely turbo diesel merchandise, I've had some demand for hoodies and they are now in stock. So I'll put some on screen of the design. It is the new turbo and the diesel logo. These come in a range of sizes, a huge range of colours. You can click the drop down and see whatever one you like. And these are currently pre-order. Now, it's not your traditional pre-order where I get all the orders in and then send them off. If you order, I will get it made and then send you the order. It is just because I don't want to be buying lots of stuff in bulk and then for there only be a little bit interest in one or huge amount in the other. I'm just going to do it like an on-rolling basis. So if you're interested in a hoodie, go down to the link below to the TDI store and get yours now. Another thing, if merch isn't your thing, then you can buy me a coffee, and what that is to support the channel. You can make any donation you want. Doesn't matter how big, how small, it is massively appreciated, and it just shows your support to help build the channel and continue on making content. So as you can see, we've got a few more videos coming up. I've got the Fandango stereo to fit in the van there. I've also got the boost leak to fix on the borer. And yeah, so if you're looking forward to that, hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.